All right, so we look at the first practice problem. Economic studies choices that arise from one fact. What is that fact?
Scarcity.
Scarcity. So the fact is scarcity. And what exactly is scarcity?
Okay, scarcity is when human want exceeds the human want exceeds the resources available.
Yes. So the last time we met, we saw that scarcity is totally different from poverty. It doesn't matter the amount of resources that you have, we still face a form of scarcity. The resources that we have will never be enough to satisfy our unlimited want. So yes, scarcity is the fundamental issue in economics. So this is how the questions are structured. After we look at that, then we'll put it in a multiple choice form. Okay. So
Okay.
economic studies choices that arise from one fact. What is that fact? You see that here we are not talking about just the term. We want to actually know what it actually is. So A is saying that the fact is that resources are unable to satisfy all our wants. Okay. And then B is saying that there's too much variety. Okay. Which one do you think is the answer?
I think it's A.
Yes, so the resources are unable to satisfy all our wants. So that is A. Now here they wanted us to give examples of wants that are very pressing but not satisfied. Okay, wants that are very pressing but not satisfied. These are the examples that they gave, and this one was particularly to the United States. They need security from international terrorism. I mean, this is a want. It's very pressing. And the reason why they are saying it's not satisfied is that still there's some form of terrorism in the state. Okay, so this is one want that is very pressing. We can also give our own examples. If you come to Ghana right now, prices are just galloping. We actually our want here is that things can actually be affordable, okay, even for the average person. But it's not something we are seeing now. Almost every 2 days, they try to increase prices. This has never happened before. And these people are putting everything on the war in Ukraine. We just wonder if the bombs were falling on us, then I guess we couldn't even drink water here. Look at where Ukraine is, look at where Ghana is, and now everything is about Russia and Ukraine. It's just funny, but that is what we have here. So that is one. We need better environment. If you come to Ghana, look at how these miners are wasting our water bodies. So we need better water bodies as well. But then we haven't been satisfied in that regard. Better schools, better education, and all that. So all these are some examples of wants that are very pressing, but they've not been satisfied yet.
Okay. So wait, I want to understand the question too very well. So the question basically means that they are needs, but then they've not been met. So what it means, what they actually means, what the question means is that it's like there are needs that are not able to solve, right?
Yes, they are not
Okay.
totally solved now. See, if
Okay.
we have a want and is half satisfied, we cannot consider it as fully satisfied. I mean,
Okay.
the want is still there. If you've not settled everything, it means there's still a want.
Okay.
And then, in fact, we have thousands of those things in our individual lives. Most of our goals and aspirations haven't been satisfied yet. Okay. So they put it in a multiple choice form. So we just follow what we saw from the previous question, and then you should know the answer here. So I think it's going for the B, international school, the A, and then the better. International terrorism, the A, and then the public schools as well. All right. Remember the last time we met, we were looking at the economic questions, and the basic economic questions that we have. I mean, every economy should have is what to produce, the what question, the how are we supposed to produce them, and then for whom. So we are producing what, how are we producing it, and for whom are we exactly producing those resources for. So those are the questions that we have. So at times you'll be given a statement, then you'll be asked to state whether it's capturing a what question, a how question, or for whom. Okay, so this is how we are able to identify them. For what is talking about either a good or a service. Okay, something that we have to use our resources for. And then the how is talking about the method that we are going to use to produce the what. Okay, the method that we are going to use to produce the what. And then for whom we are talking about the target group. Okay, is it for students? Is it for workers? Is it for those who practice economics? Is it for Ghanaians? I mean, something like that. So we'll see the question, and then we'll try to know. At times, a particular statement will contain both what and how, or how and for whom. You understand? All right, so
Sure.
the first statement is, with more research, we will cure cancer. With more research, we will cure cancer. Okay, so if you look at something like research is a how. How are we going to cure the cancer? With research. Okay, with research. But then after the research, what are we going to cure? We are going to cure cancer. So with more research is a how question. We will cure cancer is a what question. So how are we going to cure the what? You understand? So we will use research as the method, as the way of curing cancer, which is the what. So what are we going to cure? Cancer. How are we going to cure it? With more research. Is that okay? So just this
Sure.
contains a how, then a what. Okay, a how and then what. Now the second one, a good education. A good what? Education. Education is a subject. You understand? So we want to produce a good education. So education is a what? And then it's the right of every child. So here the child is the target market. So for whom? For whom do we want to produce a good education? You understand? So education here is going to be a what question, but then the child is going to be the right of every child is going to be for whom. Okay, for whom? So for whom do we produce a good education? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
And then the government must cut its budget deficit by raising taxes. Okay, the government is going to cut its budget deficit by raising taxes. Now, by raising taxes is for whom? People are going to pay the tax. So for whom? Who is going to pay the tax? The tax is falling on someone, just like the education is falling on the child. Okay, here too, the tax too is falling on the person who is going to what? Actually pay the tax. So that is for whom question. Who should we impose these taxes on? Okay, and then we can even argue that the government cutting its budget is a how question. Okay, but then it is not directly related to the second part of the thing. So how are we cutting the budget? Okay, but then raising the taxes takes a different thing. The budget is not on the tax. Okay, so it's not like cutting the budget is a how of raising the tax. No, we can cut down our budget, but we still, I mean, we can choose not to raise taxes. So if we have to be very specific, then we are actually getting a for whom question for the taxes. For whom is the tax going to be imposed? Okay, but if we have to concentrate on getting a proper budget, then we have to cut it. So how do we actually reduce the budget deficit? By raising taxes. That's what we are just concentrating on, raising taxes question. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
You can just try and get some examples of those questions. Those we always try to answer this kind of question, but they are the basic accounts questions that we have. So these are the answers. So you see that now they are putting some in the multiple choice form. So if you have a news headline with more research will cure cancer, this is dealing with a how and then a what question. So that should be the A. How do we cure the cancer with more research? And what are we curing? We are actually curing cancer. All right. Now, how does a new Starbucks coffee shop in Beijing, China, influence self-interest and the social interest? Can you try this? Remember, we spoke about self-interest and then social interest. If you are doing something in pursuit of the benefit that you only get, you are pursuing self-interest. But then if the entire society is going to benefit from what you are doing, then it's promoting social interest. So as they situate a coffee shop in Beijing, how is it actually pursuing self-interest and then social interest at the same time?
Okay, so with the self-interest, I think the coffee shop, I mean, the shop makes profit. So the self-interest is the person is the profit that the shop is the owner of the shop is making, and out of the social interest to me is the services that is provided to the society. Meaning, if somebody will go in the morning and buy coffee, and that is a services is providing to the society.
Very good, very good. Exactly, exactly. So now, Starbucks, they try to gain profit. That is why they are putting out the coffee shop. So that is a pursuit in self-interest. But then they are serving customers. People are hungry. They're able to go there. So that is what is contributing to the social interest. Okay, very good. All right. Now, Facebook. How do they get their self-interest? How do they promote social interest as
well? Okay, with Facebook, let's start with the social interest. Okay. So they help individuals communicate with each other from long distance. So therefore, that is a social interest that they got. And with the self-interest, that's I'm a bit confused, but I think the number of people who use it is also the decision they make. It's also profit-wise. I mean, the number of people that use Facebook increases their profit is a margin. So that is what I think.
Exactly, exactly. Here for the self-interest, we are talking about one, the investors. They are getting their profit. The users. I mean, if I go there personally, it's for my own interest. Okay. And then those that advertise it.
Okay.
And then for the social interest, that's exactly what we're talking about. People are able to communicate, we share information and all that. So yes, that's good. That's perfect. Okay, so yes, you've perfectly understood what we did. All right, let's look at this practice problem. Now, every week, a kid tries to play tennis for 2 hours. And if she does that, her grade on each math test is 70%. The last week, after doing the tennis for 2 hours, she considered doing the tennis for another hour. She always does it for just 2 hours. Okay, but now she wants to increase the hour by 1. Now, when she did that, she had to cut. Remember, whatever choice we make, there's a trade-off. And in a day, we have exactly 24 hours. So if you are doing more hours for one activity, you have to do less for the other. So as she added 1 hour to the tennis, she had to cut her study time by 1 hour.
Okay.
And by doing that, her maths grade was 60%. Initially, it was 2 hours for tennis, 70% for maths. Now it's 3 hours for tennis, and then 60% for maths. So what was K's opportunity cost of the 3rd hour of tennis? What was
Opportunity
cost?
The opportunity cost was for going the 10% deduction from 70 to 60.
Very good. So remember, we said opportunity cost is the best thing that you forgo. Okay, the best thing that you forgo. So as she was increasing the hours for tennis, she had to reduce the study time, and that caused a 10% reduction in maths grade. So the 10% that she lost, that is the opportunity cost of increasing the tennis hour by 1. Okay, that's the opportunity cost. All right. So this one, they are putting it in a multiple choice form. So of course, it's going to be the 10% points drop in the maths grade. Okay, that's going to be seen. That will be the opportunity cost. Okay, that's going to be the opportunity cost. All right, let's look at another aspect. So the same preamble, okay? Then now, because she added an extra hour, what can you say about her marginal benefit and her marginal cost of the 2nd hour of tennis? As she added another hour, what can you say about the marginal benefit and the marginal cost?
So the marginal benefit is the 1 hour that she added to the tennis, okay. And then the cost is the 10% that's reduced. Reduce in the masters.
Okay, so I mean, if we have to compare the two, what do you think? How, just put yourself in case you. What do you think? What mindset did she have? Because we can see she actually went for one additional hour of tennis. So comparatively, what can you say about the marginal benefit and the marginal cost?
I think
now let me reframe it. See that we're talking about marginal cost and marginal benefit being the basis for whatever choice that we make. I mean,
okay.
Now, before you make any choice, you compare your marginal benefit and then your marginal cost. Okay. So now we said that before someone can actually take an activity, the person should make sure that the marginal benefit exceeds the marginal cost, or at least it should be equal. So here, yes, the marginal benefit is whatever satisfaction that she got from the extra hour of tennis. Then the marginal cost, we've seen it to be the 10 percentage point grade falling mass test. Okay. Now, she knew the benefit and the cost, yet she went in for the extra hour of tennis, which means that in her mind, she saw the marginal benefit to have exceeded the
marginal cost.
That is why she went in for the extra hour of tennis. So if we have to compare the two, then yes, we can say that the marginal benefit was more than the marginal cost. But then if otherwise, she wouldn't have added the extra of tennis. Okay. Sarah. Okay, so that is it. That is how we compare the two. So as soon as we see that someone has taken a decision, someone has made a choice, then whatever the choice is favoring, then it is that the marginal benefit there will be more than the marginal cost. But then if there's a choice I have to make, if there's an activity I have to take and I don't take it, then it means that the marginal cost is more than the marginal benefit. As we saw in our last video that Bill Gates and then those other two guys, they quit school. Why? Because to them, the marginal cost of schooling was way more than the marginal benefit. So they rather stop school and then go and do whatever. Then they became rich out of it. So it all depends on the marginal benefit and so this is just the multiple choice, which will be exactly the same as what we said. All right. Now the question is that with the same preamble, so K's decision to add another hour of tennis, was it rational? Do you think it was rational?
Yeah, it's rational because to where the benefits are to the marginal benefits are to the marginal cost.
Okay. So you see that we have to put a restriction here. We always assume that we make rational choices, but as I pointed out the last time, it's not always the case. I mean, I'm sure we've made a lot of choices that were not rational. There were times where we didn't even consider the benefits and the costs. We just made impulse choices and we entered into it. But then we can only consider a decision to be rational if we put a restriction on the marginal benefit and the marginal cost. So if the marginal benefit was more than the marginal cost, then yes, a decision was rational. See that here, the marginal benefits cannot be quantified. The satisfaction that she got from the tenants cannot be quantified, but then the marginal cost could be quantified. A 10 percentage point fall in the grade. So yes, we know that that's, but how do we measure the satisfaction that she got? So we can only put a restriction. If the marginal benefit was more than the marginal cost, then that was the rational choice. But then if otherwise, the choice wasn't rational.
So in here, we can't decide whether it is rational or not.
No,
we can't measure this.
Yes, we can't. You see that?
We can't measure the satisfaction.
Yes, we can't explicitly measure it. There are so many cases like that. You see that in economics, we call something economics cost and then accounting cost. For accounting cost, we only consider the monetary cost that we incur. So we can actually quantify the cost. When it comes to economics, we add both the monetary, what we call the explicit cost, and then the opportunity cost, which is the implicit. Most of the times for the implicit cost, we are unable to quantify it. So a proxy that we use is, what were you willing to give up in order to get that thing? Then we can use that one to know that, okay, maybe that was the cost of that particular thing. But we hardly do that. It is very hard to measure opportunity cost. So this one hard thing. You are enjoying tennis. How do we measure the satisfaction? Even in terms of consumer satisfaction, it's relative. You can take one bowl of rice, and the satisfaction that you get from it will be different from the satisfaction that I will get from that same bowl of rice. You understand? So we are unable to actually quantify it. So we just have to hold an assumption that the decision will be considered rational if and only if we see that the marginal benefit is more than the cost. But it's possible that the marginal cost would have been more than the marginal benefit. You see that one argument is, we can even talk about diminishing marginal utility. You see that as you continuously consume a good or a service, the satisfaction that you get from it falls. we normally use a bottle of water, assuming you are working under a scorching sun. You get home and you are offered one chilled bottle of water. It's possible you drink everything, and after drinking it, the satisfaction that you get is very serious because you were very thirsty. So now, assuming you finish the first bottle, and then they give you another one. Let's assume you were even able to finish it, but then the satisfaction that you get from the second one wouldn't be so much as you got from the first one, because as at the time that you were taking the second one, you were not very thirsty. You were not very thirsty, so the satisfaction that you get from the second bottle will be less than what you get from the first one. If they give you a third bottle, it's even possible you wouldn't be able to finish drinking it. So as you keep on consuming the same good, your satisfaction falls. So let's take Kate. Kate is doing tennis. First hour, when she went there with all the energy, the kind of benefit that she get from the first hour will be way higher than what she get from the second one. And as she was getting to the third one, she was weak. I mean, she should be tired, exhausted by then. So what benefit was she getting from the so it would depend. But it's possible that maybe it's not Kate, it is Jake. Jake is a man. He can even do tennis for 5 hours. So if after 2 hours he adds another hour, the benefit will still be high. So it is very relative. It even depends on the person we are talking about. So we have to put a restriction on it. So if and only if the benefits on the third hour
okay.
the marginal cost, then yes, the decision will
Yeah.
All right. So this is the multiple choice, and it will just be the same answer. Yes. Now the same preamble, but then the question is that did Kate make a decision on the margin? Was a decision made on the margin?
This one is another if. Because to me, if you consider that pay 1 hour more, 1 hour more to a decision, to playing tennis, the satisfaction she's going to derive is outweighs that of the drop in the mass test.
Okay,
If
let's draw a distinction between marginal decisions and rational decisions. For rational decisions, your marginal benefit must exceed or at least equal to your marginal cost, okay? But then making a decision at the margin, remember we said the decision must be incremental. When you increase your activity by 1 unit, what is the benefit? What is the cost? So here, let's analyze case. Now, she did it for 2 hours. Then she wanted to increase by 1 hour. So yes, the decision was being taken at the margin because she was increasing the activity by 1 unit. So it was the marginal benefit of that extra 1 unit and the marginal cost of that extra 1 unit that we were comparing. So if you make your decisions on the margins, then it means that you have to change your activity by 1 unit, and then you compare the benefit and the cost of that 1 unit change, then you use it to take your decision. So after doing it like that, and the benefit exceeds the cost for that extra unit, then that is where and you make the choice. That's where we say you've made.
Okay, sure. So yeah, she did.
Yes, so yes, she did. Because if there was an additional hour, we're comparing the benefit and cost of the additional hour of tennis. Okay. All right. So this is the multiple choice. So this is actually the end of this particular test. So I will send you the link within the next 5 minutes. You use the questions are 15. 1 minute for 1 question, so just 15 minutes. Okay, just 15 minutes. After that, you can view your score, and then in case you get anything wrong, you can see the correct answer.
Is that time that when I'm supposed to do it?
Oh, I wish you are free now, so you can do it now. It's just 15. So tops 20 minutes.
I get okay, no problem. I
Okay.
get it.
So let me.
But have you shared this particular question? So have you shared it
Yes.
with me?
I will send it to you.
Okay. Okay.
But these ones, because they are questions that we'll be doing, I will only give them to you after we've
Okay. I
so
get
that
it.
we
I get it.
know the progress.
Okay.
All right. So all the best.
Thank you.
All right. So you can just follow the link down there and then do the test and see your progress as we prepare for this. All the best.